let's say that you started dating your ex again. Let's say that this ex actually betrayed you. That's what ended the relationship. But both of you want to give this another try. Now, let's say that the person this ex cheated on you with is still in the picture, is still kind of part of your ex's life, and you want to address it. Actually, you want them to let that bitch go. And yet, for them, this is just a little bit too much of an ask.
I don't want you to see him ever again.
Can't do that.
But you know how we do it here. We narrate, we analyze, we often judge, and we always pretend to know better and would do better. Hopefully. Aiden and Miss Carrie Bradshaw started their relationship again. And they started it with a little bit of push from Carrie's side. Okay, maybe Aiden wasn't so convinced. Maybe Aiden actually wanted to let go. But Carrie knew what is his real desire.
His word said no, but his kiss said yes.
And as they are making love in the morning, the bitch just called in.
Hey kid, what's shaking? I'm back in town. Call me, baby.
Mary, can you imagine? Obviously, I would expect that Aiden would be like, what the F? Maybe roll off Carrie. But I guess it's a shame to waste a release.
We just kept making love.
He could keep going after that.
That would not be me. Maybe it would be me for a moment, but then I'd be like, what? I came into a relationship back with you because you promised me that that was a mistake, but this bitch is calling you to hang out together, baby, because I'm in town. Excuse me, what? Didn't you cut her off or cut him off out of your life the second it destroyed this relationship? I mean, the audacity. Other people are better than me, okay? And they're more diplomatic. Samantha is shook it also. She's like, really? He just continued? Though she's impressed by it, you know? It's that commitment to a good orgasm. And not only did Aiden achieve his finish, Carrie did it also. And according to her,
I had to. And I haven't worked that hard at anything since my SATs.
the worst thing about it all is that after they did it, they didn't even talk about it. They just went to sleep.
And when I woke up, Aiden was on the other side of the bed.
Charlotte is trying to see it a little bit more positive. You know, this is kind of new Aiden, so maybe new Aiden just sleeps differently. But Carrie is not falling for it because they always slept very close to one another. And she always had this special place in his nook, you know? The whole thing just sucks. Even if Aiden was ready to forgive Carrie and start this thing again, what now? Every time a phone is gonna ring, what if he's just gonna think that it's big again, waiting for the affair number 2? It's clear she's gonna have to talk about it. Ugh.
No one wants to hear about their lovers' past lovers. What happened was in the past, leave it there.
Samantha is not on board with this whole talking to Aiden about big. Look, I get it. Talking about your ex could be uncomfortable for some people. They just don't want to hear about it for whatever reason. And okay, that can be a choice, I guess. Here's the thing though, people. Big is not just an ex. Big is the ex. Big is the ex that made this relationship or what played a part in this relationship falling apart, okay? So as much as Samantha, some might say, can be right, I guess, not in this case. I mean, this is serious, people. I honestly do not understand. First of all, when the phone rang and then Aiden just pretended like there's nothing, the first thing is that it might be his ego. It might be the fact that if he now addresses that he's bothered by Big calling in, it will make him look weak. Not so much make him look weak, but he himself is gonna feel weak. Almost like letting Big interfere in his relationship with Carrie again. That could be a reason, I guess. Though in that case, I don't know how long can it last because we are human. Unless you are a sociopath. By the way, I have no idea if sociopath is the right reference. The second thing could be that he is just a bit avoidant. We did see Aiden also when they were together the first time, that he tends to wait for Carrie to apologize even though he's been hurt and then just continues, right? Or let's say there was a mix. He did it and didn't do it. But we could say that there is a part of him that sometimes just likes to avoid things. So right now, that could also be the thing, right? He is avoiding talking to Carrie about what just happened. Maybe he is struggling and trying to figure out how to accept that Big maybe just called without Carrie knowing, because he does want to believe that Carrie is different and she changed and she regrets what she did. So he doesn't want to address it. He just wants to ignore it and it will pass type of thing. But that's the thing with these things. It never passes. It does not even, Mary, even when you think it's gonna pass, it's not a big deal. Oh, just wait for another little thing, okay? For someone leaving, I don't know what. And boom, that problem comes out again. It's better to address it head on. That's the thing, right? If Aiden would really forgive Carrie for what she did, let's say, or understood that that was a mistake, why would he have a problem to address it? If he was actually open with her, being ready to create this partnership, why would he not want to address it? Like I would. If I was in his position, I would have no problem by saying, look, that made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. Because if we're trying to build this again together, I also need to understand what kind of relationship do you have right now with this same person? And how does that make me feel about it? Huh? When it comes to Carrie, though, I think it makes and it doesn't make sense that she is also kind of ignoring having a conversation with Aiden, at least right now, right? Here's the thing. If you are the one who, I'm thinking, if you're the one who betrayed another person, who cheated, you do want to kind of forget that, right? Just move on like nothing ever happened, because you are almost relying on yourself that you will never do that again. And it's basically you with yourself, right? So for Carrie, if Aiden does not want to address it, why would she want to really address it? Like, I don't want to talk about it. Let's just move on. But the problem is that Aiden, on the other hand, he needs to not only build that trust with Carrie again, it's also build that trust with himself. So while Carrie has just, okay, I need to trust myself that I'm not going to do that. And that's almost an easy thing to do because I did the wrong action, right? Aiden, on the other hand, needs to deal with, I need to trust Carrie that she won't do that to me again. But also, I need to trust myself that I will recognize if she's doing that to me again, if she is hurting me again. That's why this coming back together after betrayal, it's so much more difficult for the person that experienced betrayal, because they almost have, at least from my understanding, then let me know if I'm missing something, like they almost have two layers that they need to work on. Layer, which is trust with the other person, and then the trust within themselves, which is much harder when you need to trust that you will recognize if someone is hurting versus Carrie, where she needs to trust herself that she will not hurt again. I think the Carrie version is a little bit more easier. Or am I wrong? What do you think? Now, despite me understanding why Carrie is a little bit more reluctant to actually bring out the topic, there is also this need to understand that Aiden might need this conversation, and you as a partner should support that. You should recognize when your partner is clearly suffering and maybe avoiding a difficult topic, and help him have that conversation. This could also be a very good way of Carrie showing to Aiden that she is really into this relationship for the two of them. If she would say, I want to talk about the situation that happened with Big because I do want you to trust me and understand, or I do want to show you that he does not have an impact in my life, despite this call happening. With her not bringing it up also feeds into him not trusting her. right? Does that make sense? Like, if I'm struggling, you're promising me that you are different, but you are also ignoring the fact that this person contacted you again in front of me. Like, that's not good. I would not take that as a good thing. Maybe I would even expect for you to address it. Why do I need to address it? Another morning and another distance between the two of them. Carrie wakes up and she is not the happiest about it, but she does not want to read into it too much. So she kind of smooches close to Aiden. She tries to get into this nook, but Aiden needs to go to the gym. Carrie, though, suggests that he can stay in a little bit longer, right? He doesn't need to go to the gym. And I'm gonna roll the clip and then we're gonna talk about it.
Do you want me to get all soft again?
I liked you all soft.
I didn't.
Oh, softness is a metaphor. The same way as the bed is a metaphor. Let me break it down. You see, the bed that the two of them are sleeping on is now hugely and a bit disturbingly big. I don't remember Carrie having this big of a bed. So I'm thinking they made it extra big just to get this point across. Clearly being a metaphor. Or I'm reading too much into it, but that's what I do, and that's why you're here, right? Yes, so you don't feel crazy and alone. I get it. Or that's what I like to believe to comfort myself. This whole scene, to me, talks about the emotional closeness or distance, in this case, that Carrie and Aiden are actually experiencing. I mean, clearly, if they can't even address Big calling in, despite this being a big part of them coming back together, it shows that they are not really open and vulnerable with one another. They don't feel comfortable in doing that yet. Them coming together, it's almost like this surface level, oh, we love each other and that was a mistake, right? So let's try this again, rather than actually the two of them coming really together as partners, as being vulnerable with one another. But here's the thing. It seems that Aiden might not want to be emotionally vulnerable with Carrie, which honestly, I think it's a very normal reaction to a betrayal, right? You're probably re-entering the relationship with a little bit of a, maybe some binoculars. You want to be a little bit careful. You still want to rebuild that trust. And to me, this talk about softness actually exposes that. You see, when Aiden says, oh, you want me to be as soft as I used to be? And Carrie says, yes, I liked you soft. It could actually reference to him being vulnerable and open with Carrie, emotionally connected with Carrie, which is something that Carrie appreciated. But Aiden doesn't feel comfortable in doing that anymore. What do you think about this analysis? Was it very clear and I didn't do anything major here? Well, that's also possible. Aiden goes to shower, and when he's finished, there's a knock on the bathroom door. Carrie brought him fresh orange juice. The lady went down across the street or down the street to a Korean restaurant to bring this healthy half breakfast to Aiden. She is really getting into that, let me show you how good of a girlfriend I am. But we'll get to that. So they're getting ready in the bathroom, and Carrie actually asks him to help her with her nicotine patch. And this is where I'm like, Carrie, zip it, shut up. So as they are putting this nicotine patch on her, she is fishing for Aiden to acknowledge how good she has become with this habit.
Notice how much better I'm doing this time? No cheating. I think I finally kicked that bad habit. Now I'm practically perfect, don't you think?
Not the time, Carrie. Not the time, not the place. Now, of course, this is writing and script and so on, but I could see how this can also happen in real life. When you're desperate for someone to acknowledge that you are good, when you yourself feel guilty about something that you did to them already, right? Aiden doesn't really seem to give her really that acknowledgement. He's more like, like he is clearly pissed. And when he puts the nicotine patch on her shoulder, he kind of hits it a little bit too harsh.
Ow. Well, that kind of hurt.
That 100% was not okay. Okay, let me just get that out of the way he kind of bumped Carrie. I mean, if you're angry, if you want to talk about something, talk about something. Do not get abusive or aggressive in this case. It ain't it. Carrie also calls him out on it. And Aiden is deflecting. He's like, no, I just wanted to make sure that it's good and tight on there, while clearly being upset. Carrie now wants to talk to him about it. She actually wants to address what happened the other day.
About the other night.
Which, yes, good. Good job, Carrie. Bring it forward. Talk about it. Clearly, things are not going well. But Aiden is more focused on the spoiled milk that was left in the fridge.
What the fuck? This goddamn milk is bad. You just fucking let it sit in there?
Unless it's like green stuff in it, that could literally happen that morning. So to me, it almost felt like Aiden wanted to put down Carrie because she was so happy about the fact that she is, being good with this non-smoking habit. It's like he wants to tell her, no, you are not that good. Maybe you quit smoking, but look at your other bad habits. So this to me just confirms that Aiden is probably pissed at Carrie in some way, but because he himself doesn't really know how to address it, it manifests in this almost like erratic behavior, a bit aggressive. It's total difference for how Aiden kind of was in the past, let's say. While Carrie, on the other side, she is desperate to get that reassurance that Aiden sees that she is being better. Maybe she wants that confirmation for herself, but also for Aiden, right? Look, I am different and you can trust me. But Aiden is not ready to do that. Now, what happens next? It's interesting, but also pretty normal.
Look, it's not you. I'm just a little pissed off because of work. I gotta strip these pieces all weekend. The chemicals are toxic. I can't get anybody to watch Pete.
If he is struggling between giving this relationship a chance and potential, underlying feelings or discomfort about the betrayal, in this moment, he might almost feel like, I'm being an asshole, right? It's not okay that I'm flipping out on her like this. Like, if I don't even know what is bothering me and I don't want to express it, I'm just being rude and this is not okay. And he then redirects that focus on work, right? That's what's creating stress. It almost makes him feel guilty that he is lashing out on Carrie, not realizing that he's doing that because he is struggling with being vulnerable, and it makes him mad that he cannot really address things with her. He doesn't feel confident in addressing things with her, not realizing that that is because he doesn't feel comfortable to be vulnerable with Carrie, and he rather blames it on an external thing, right? Addressing that something bothers you means that you are vulnerable, right? And sometimes we tend to grasp on this, or we tend to hold on this ego thing. This, oh, nothing bothers me. Oh, I'm not hurt. So to compensate for that feeling, then you just say, oh, I'm just being an asshole because, it's stress, it's work, and so on. It's more comfortable to blame it on the external things than to actually show that some things are not okay with you or that hurt you. Does that make sense? There is another thing that could be playing a part in how Aiden is dealing with this. You see, Aiden, since we've known him, did come off as someone who is almost portraying or trying to be a good guy, a nice guy, and almost playing a role of that, rather to actually understand what that is. I'm not going to go too deep into it. You can watch my other videos on Aiden and Carrie. So in a way, maybe he does not want to express himself because he does also want to withhold an image of being a forgiving and supportive partner. If he would say that he is bothered by Big calling him, that in his mind, potentially, could crumble. Because if I show that I'm bothered by something, then how can I also be forgiving partner and supportive partner? That's something that could very well be happening in situation or when someone is in the situation like Aiden is. You almost are choosing to preserve that I'm a good partner and I forgave you rather than expressing that, look, I'm still hurting and I do not know really how to forgive you.
I'll watch Pete.
Come on, dog walking's not your favorite thing to do, Carrie.
You love Pete, I love Pete. That's just the kind of girlfriend I am.
She will do anything needed for her to be a good girlfriend, for her to prove to Aiden that she is a good girlfriend. She will even take Pete on. Now, here's the thing. In general, this is very welcome in a relationship, right? Support each other if you can. But it does become a little bit like, I don't know how healthy it is that Carrie is in this position where she will do anything to prove to Aiden that she's a good girlfriend, when the thing they should actually acknowledge is the actual betrayal and so on. I can see how Carrie is just trying to now compensate with other small things to really be there for Aiden and prove that she is a good girlfriend. Now, this can also turn into very toxic dynamics where Carrie always takes the position of trying to prove herself, while Aiden, or if this was another guy, could actually use this, would also use this to keep Carrie feeling small. He would never really show the appreciation for Carrie putting in the effort because that would also make Carrie feel more attached to him. He would have a greater control over Carrie wanting to please him, right? And you have guys like that out there. Also women, when they will never compliment you, they will never say anything because it serves them much more to make you feel that you are never good enough, that you always need to prove yourself. And Bess, I'm not pulling these things out of my ass. Best believe I was in a position like that. And it is very, very damaging. I'm not saying that this is what's happening between Aiden and Carrie necessarily, but, pay attention to those things if you find yourself in that position. It ain't good. She also invites him to a nice dinner, her treat. But Aiden actually can't do it this evening because he has a boys' night out. Now, Carrie wants to understand if this is like a boys' night out or if she can also join.
Can girlfriends crash?
You can come, don't come, whatever. Do what you like.
And Carrie takes that as okay, I'm not gonna come. You just have your night with the boys. Now, I want to also add here, although I'm adding so many things, I'm sorry this episode was filled with things to talk about. But when it comes to Aiden not being sure what to do in this situation with Carrie, I think this is another way of how he is struggling with being a good boyfriend or a bad boyfriend. The reality might be that Aiden does not want Carrie there. Aiden might need some time for himself, some time away from Carrie, but because he's trying to preserve this good boyfriend image, he also feels bad about needing that. On the other hand, he might be also struggling with this dilemma between I'm mad at you, I don't know how to actually forgive you, but I also want you. Like, I want to be with you. So he's like, he doesn't really know where to decide. Meaning, the man needs to journal, okay? Pick up some nice notebook, pick up some pen, and just journal about what are you feeling and how do you want to move forward. Show up for yourself, okay? That's the thing number one. Ring, ring, saved by the bell. It's Miranda, and she is dealing with a little bit of a pickle. She pulled out her neck, and she is naked in the bathroom, which is something she didn't tell to Carrie, and she's calling Carrie to help her. Carrie cannot do it because suddenly, which is actually growth, Carrie is responsible and she has this huge meeting she cannot cancel right now. It's too late to cancel it. But Aiden, as a good boyfriend, offers to help. Again, this proves that there is a part of him where he genuinely wants to support Carrie and loves her, right?
I'll go check on Miranda for you.
You would?
Sure.
Now, this is something that I want to hear your thoughts about it. How do you feel about the whole situation of Carrie sending Aiden to help Miranda? I tried to understand a little bit on Reddit, actually, reading through what people think about the situation. And there are different opinions, I guess. One of them is that Miranda herself is a little bit the Lulu, calling Carrie to help her when her neck is pulled out. They were like, how can she call Carrie when Carrie is much smaller and could not lift Miranda up? And I'm like, Biz, which episode did you watch? Miranda first made the call and then she fell on the ground. So that's one opinion. The second one was the horror or the audacity of Carrie sending Aiden to help Miranda. And I don't know. I'm not so upset about it. She did not know that Miranda is naked in the bathroom. She did not know that Miranda actually fell on the floor. So her sending Aiden was just a responsible thing, I guess. Like, Aiden knows Miranda. I don't know. I wasn't that mad about it. But let me know in the comments below how you feel. And if you are mad at Carrie about that, let me know also why. I want to understand. Okay? Okay. Oh, for those of you who don't know, Aiden goes to Miranda. And as I mentioned, Miranda actually fell on the bathroom floor. She's butt naked. And Aiden comes in and, he needs to help her while she is naked. He is very gentlemanlike, but Miranda feels mortified. But we'll come to the consequences later. It is guys' night for Aiden, and somehow Carrie decided to pop by and just thank Aiden for being such a great boyfriend and helping her friend Miranda.
You're my hero.
And I'm like, Carrie, what? Yeah, this feels a little bit performative, and I'm going to explain why. Okay? Here's the thing. She knows that Aiden said that it's going to be a boys' night out, right? He was a little bit vague of should she come and not come. But if she accepted the fact that it's a guy's night out, why does she need to go there to thank him for helping Miranda? Carrie has one goal. She needs to prove herself that she is a good girlfriend. So I think in her mind, it's like, I will be seen as the best girlfriend if I literally go down to him and thank him for his help. What Carrie does not know, and what we know, because we are a little bit cuckoo, okay, and we get into things a little bit too much. On one hand, it could look like very, oh my God, so nice. But on the other hand, she's actually disturbing in a way. Aiden's me time, Aiden's private time. If he's hanging with the boys, it feels a little bit disturbing that Carrie needed to dress up, look hot, to come down and say thank you to him. I didn't find that as cute and good, though I can see how it can look like, let's say that Aiden would do that. Maybe people would be like, oh my God, Aiden is such a nice guy. Look, he wanted to stop by to say, okay. But on the other hand, why do you need to go out of your way to meet your person when they're hanging out with other people to say thank you about something, if it's not performative? Or am I wrong? I could be wrong, though I doubt it. But here's the thing, people. Oh, things are about to go sus. There is no guys' night. What Carrie sees when she enters the restaurant is Aiden sitting alone by the bar drinking. And there is a beautiful bartender, a woman who is keeping company to Aiden.
I'm back. Where were we?
I was up to 3 peanuts.
Oh, you think you're such hot stuff, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Now, the attitude is a little bit sus. The attitude these two have is a bit flirtatious. But Carrie doesn't really read into it, okay? She's more interested in where are the guys, right? Wasn't this supposed to be a guy's night out? And Aiden explains to her that the guys actually canceled on him. So he decided to go to the bar, the bar him and Steve have, hang out with his buddy Steve. Steve is not there right now because he went out to pick up burritos. So him and Shaya, something. They're looking after the joint for Steve while being very flirtatious with one another in front of Carrie. Not that that matters. Let me tell you one thing. There is no such thing of, oh, if my man or if my person is not there, I can flirt. But if they are there, then I'm not going to flirt. No. I do not sign under that at all. Because it's clear that you're just doing something to please me rather than respecting the relationship as a whole. Like, Biz, I'm going to tell you, I've heard people say those things, like acting certain way with the guy. And then I would be like, would you do that same thing if your man was there? And it's like, I ask the question of the millennials. It's like they never thought about it. Like, it's insane. So, okay, him flirting with this bartender in general is wrong, but in front of Carrie, that's another layer to it. Now, here's the thing. I believe Aiden. I believe that the guy's canceled and he decided to go to the bar, hang out with Steve, and there's this bartender, they hang out together and so on. Like, I believe it. What I would be pissed about or worried about or a little bit sus about if I was Carrie was the fact that I invited you to have dinner together. And even though your guy's canceled and you technically didn't have anything to do, that's why you went hang out with Steve, you still didn't call me to check if I'm available and we can hang out together. Like, that to me would be a little bit of a sign that things are not okay. There is something fishy here and we need to address it. From that perspective, I would say that for Carrie, this situation is extremely, extremely challenging. Like, imagine your man who you feel that something is not right is blowing you off, right? Even though he could call you. And then he is being so friendly and flirtatious with another woman in front of you.
You got us a nice guy here.
Oh, shucks, man.
Mm-hmm. So how was Miranda?
And let me tell you, the vibe that Aiden has is when he's talking with Carrie, he has this almost like being a little bit annoyed type of feeling. Like he doesn't seem like extra happy for her to be there or how you would expect Aiden to act. You know, the previous Aiden, the Aiden in love. While when he's talking with this waitress, he's all smiley and, like I said, flirtatious. So it's clear the vibe that this is creating. If I was Carrie, I would lose it. I would not lose it in front of him, probably. But I would most definitely be like, what the fuck? Let's talk about it. Like, I would put him aside and I would be like, what the hell is happening? And here's the thing. Carrie actually does that. She asks the bartender if she can give them some time, right? A minute. And she asks Aiden what is going on. But Aiden, as so far, is just deflecting.
What is going on?
What's up?
You tell me.
Avoidance. And Carrie also plays into it. Carrie has, to me personally, the attitude of, okay, you do your thing. I get it. You're not really ready to talk about it. I'm going to let you hear. I'm not going to read into it. I'm not going to voice my opinions about how I feel about this whole situation. And I'm just going to leave.
It's nice to meet you, Shayna.
Oh, yeah.
I'll see you later.
And I think that is because both of them are not actually comfortable of being vulnerable with one another. The same way Aiden might not want to express his feelings about the betrayal. Also, Carrie might feel the same way. Instead of telling to Aiden that she doesn't feel comfortable about this and if they could talk about it, she rather puts in this image of a good girlfriend, I'm not going to react. And she actually also invites him to come to her because she's not working the next day. But when it's 3 a.m. in the morning and Aiden is still not there, it is clear to Carrie she is really being punished for her mistake. And this is where I say things can get very dangerous when you did something to this other person, but now this other person is using that thing to treat you badly, and you almost feel like you deserved it. Okay? This is a territory that we should not go into. If you decide to be with someone, for example, if Aiden decided to forgive Carrie or to try to forgive Carrie and get together with her and try this relationship again, he shouldn't come into it with a sense of resentment and closeness and not talking about it, but he should be even more open to actually expressing himself to understand how to move forward. Unfortunately, how Aiden is acting, it almost seems like he feels he can act that way because Carrie did something to him, right? Because he is mad at Carrie. And Carrie, on the other hand, because she feels guilt, she almost allows it to happen. She neglects that Aiden is not being a good boyfriend in this case, that he is being a douche because she herself feels like she deserves it. And that can get very dangerous, very toxic, very abusive real fast. If you're not ready to actually treat each other good despite what happened, don't do it. Don't get into it, okay? If you're not ready to address your feelings, if you're not ready to actually forgive the other person, do not do it, because not only are you hurting yourself, but you're also hurting the other person. Because that's the thing. Aiden is clearly pushing himself to be good with Carrie, even though he's not really ready to. And it's not surprising because the way they started this relationship again is Carrie pushing him into it. He agreed to it because, like we talked about last time, he has some unresolved feelings, but now he's actually struggling with that. He might be even mad at himself that he is back with Carrie, that he allowed himself to get back in this relationship, while still also trying to understand why does he still have feelings for Carrie and if he should give this another try. And because it's clear that he's confused about this situation, he should not get back with Carrie. By the way, how would you act if you were Carrie and you would see your man like that? Don't worry, the comment section is a safe space. Just let us know how you truly feel about it. It is the next day, and Carrie actually stops by Miranda because she wants to check up on her. Now, people, when I saw this scene, I was like, wait a second. Is this the first time that Carrie is stopping by Miranda? Like, did she prioritize going to say thank you to Aiden rather than going and check up on Miranda? Like, that also shows you that what her focus is how she is a good girlfriend, right? Being performative. She actually also brings some bagels for Miranda. And when she starts talking about how Aiden didn't show up, Miranda loses it. And then that's when I knew that, okay, I read this right.
You are bullshit. You and your bullshit cheer me up bagels. They're just a decoy so you could talk about Aiden. Look, you didn't even bring cream cheese.
You see, Miranda totally rightfully clocks Carrie how this visit of her is total bullshit. Like, did she come to visit because she's actually worried how Miranda is, or did she just come because she wants to talk about her problems with Aiden? And let me tell you, I was mad at Carrie. I was like, Biz, did you really do that? And I loved Miranda for calling her out. Carrie, do not try to position yourself as this great friend when it's clear that you came here just to talk about Aiden. The thing is also that Miranda is kind of pissed that Carrie sent her boyfriend to help Miranda.
Aiden's better in a crisis than I am.
He saw me naked.
And again, this refers to before. I don't know how I feel about this. Now they kind of make up. Carrie promises that she will never send a boyfriend to do her work.
If I still even have a boyfriend.
People, if you have any doubts about Carrie making it about herself as fast as possible, we are not watching the same show. She knows how to bring it back to her. She's also the main character, so she shares with Miranda what happened at the bar, and she also says that she's actually suspicious that Aiden might be having an affair with this lady, which is very strange for me that she is saying it this nonchalant. But again, I think it maybe ties into how she feels guilty, and it's almost like tick for tack type of thing. I have no idea if that's the expression, but that's what felt right, which I don't think it's healthy for a relationship. Now, Miranda is pretty convinced that just because she cheated on Aiden, it does not mean that Aiden is gonna cheat on Carrie.
He's not having an affair. Aiden isn't like that. He's a good guy.
Yeah, He's the good guy and I'm the bad guy, and the bad guy just has to take it, right?
Now, this makes Carrie feel even worse because there's another reminder how Carrie is a bad girlfriend, right? Carrie is the bad person and Aiden is so perfect. So now she just needs to take it, right? She's the bad guy. So she needs to just be quiet and take whatever Aiden does. And I think this was a very good observation from Carrie and very valid point about this expectation that just because you hurt one person, that now it is okay for that person to hurt you, right? I don't really agree that that's fair, especially in the case between Carrie and Aiden. So it's good that Carrie is kind of recognizing that. Like I said before, the actual good thing would be for the two of them to sit down, to talk about it, and figure out how to move forward. But right now, neither of them feels open and trusting enough to be vulnerable with one another. Carrie feels like she just wants to move on like nothing ever happened, while Aiden seems like he doesn't really know what he wants. And they're just stuck in this situation. Now, it is, I guess, the next day, and Carrie is taking care of Pete. She's actually taking him for a walk and she's hanging with Samantha. Pete has a bit of a problem, okay? Pete has, it seems like, diarrhea, and that's too much for Lil Miss Carrie. Well, not so much for her. For Samantha, for sure. Like, she is not gonna stay here and deal with this shit. She's out.
Oh, he must be sick or something.
Honey, I love you, but this is not my scene. I'll call you.
But before she goes, she also challenges Carrie a little bit. She asks her why she's taking care of Pete. She knows that Carrie doesn't like to do that. And when Carrie explains that she's trying to prove that she's a good girlfriend and she's being supportive, Samantha asks her how long is she gonna keep punishing herself for what happened. Carrie, though, has a clear goal.
Until I'm back in the nook.
She's gonna do whatever it takes and she's gonna accept whatever it takes for the two of them to be good again. Now, because Pete is sick, Carrie takes a cab, and when she arrives at Aiden's place, she is in for a treat. You see, Aiden is sitting outside and he has coffee with the bartender and they're all giggly and fun. It's clear that he's been working, but it's also a little bit sus. Why is she there and kind of bringing him coffee and they have a break together? She gives Pete to him and she walks away. Aiden runs after her and she basically calls him out on what is this shit, right?
She just happened to be there with coffee. I diapered your dog.
Keep your voice down.
And I was a little bit put back. Now, I can understand that Carrie was getting really upset and she was being a little bit irrational. But I also can understand where was she coming from. What I don't understand is Aiden being like, keep your voice down. I did not like that at all. And I think that, again, this poking out his resentment and his annoyance with Carrie. He does not seem to have any tolerance for her. She asks him, what is he doing? And Aiden is like, nothing. We are just on a break. We're just friends. And Carrie says, well, you should just F her so we can both be bad people. And she goes into the cab and kind of
We're friends.
Well, why don't you just fuck her? Then we can both be bad.
And I think that's not appropriate from Carrie's side. I think, again, this is because they never have a talk about the situation. These outbursts just pop out when it's the least appropriate. When it comes to Aiden, I think that he is using Shea, his friend, on purpose to make Carrie feel like now she is the one who needs to be worried what Aiden would do. Almost like, oh yeah, Big is gonna call you like at your home and you will not even address it. We're not gonna talk about it, though he's also the one who's avoiding it. But I explained how I would see it even more fair if Carrie was the one who brought it up. So maybe Aiden is almost like, okay, I'm also gonna have friends that you're gonna be jealous about. Again, we need to kind of forget that these are both adults, almost 40, but you never know, okay? We have some man-childs and women-childs out there. She is back at home, but Aiden is also there. He knocks on the door and he tells her that nothing happened with Shea.
I thought about it.
Carrie invites him to come in so they can talk about things, but he feels too mad to step into the apartment.
I hate that he calls here.
Carrie is trying to be reassuring that that doesn't mean anything, that she is not gonna betray him again or get with Big again.
You have to know that, right?
She has this attitude of Aiden needs to trust her and Aiden needs to believe her, which I think it's a wrong approach. How she should approach it is, how would you trust me? How would you believe? How can we both work together? Meaning we both are feeling comfortable with moving forward, not her just always pleasing and so on. And then go from there, rather than just her asking him to trust her. And this is where Aiden finally expresses what would help him. What would help him be more comfortable and trusting her more in this relationship.
I don't want you to see him ever again.
Can't do that.
Without a skipped beat, Carrie says, I can't do that. What? Oh, okay. I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna take a deep breath. What do you mean? What do you mean I can't do that? This was ridiculous. Now, I can understand that maybe the writers and the show wanted to show how, this independent type stand for yourself, a woman moment where despite her wanting to be with Aiden, it doesn't mean that he's going to dictate her life and he's going to control who she can hang out and hang not with. I can understand that that's what they wanted to do, but it ain't it. It ain't it in this freaking situation. No, I don't see it. If you see it, let me know in the comments below. But what do you mean? You have a problem cutting out the person who literally destroyed the relationship with the person you're trying to have that relationship again. Like, she knows everything she went through with Big. And Big was the reason why she cheated on with Aiden. Big is the reason why Aiden feels so distrustful of her. And yet she cannot cut this man out. Oh, for the love of God. It is ridiculous. There is, I should trust you, and there is, show me I can trust you. If the person is literally interfering of the well-being of our relationship, then I do not understand how you cannot cut this person out. Big is clearly liability, or how you say, he is damaging to this relationship, the relationship that you want to try again because you missed him for so long, because you realize that he's actually the right person for you and that you want to give this a try because there's still something between the two of you. And yet, you cannot cut Big off. The person who is actually a threat to this, no, and no. Aiden should have said, thank you. With this, you are showing me how much you are actually prioritizing us being good and together and your relationship with Big. The person who played you so many times already. But okay, I digress. No, I not digress. It's literally the situation. But no, you see, Aiden, well, Aiden gets persuaded again. You see, Carrie starts telling him that
I hope that you can forgive me. You have to forgive me. You have to forgive me, Aiden. You have to forgive me. You have to forgive me.
She is crumbling under the pleading to forgive her. And if he actually wants this relationship to continue, he needs to forgive her. And this is the moment where you can see how Aiden again falls under the pressure of not hurting Carrie. You need to understand that he still has love for her. He is battling with trusting her, loving her, and on the other side, seeing red flags when it comes to Carrie. And in this moment when she is so desperate and pleading to forgive her, mind you, not desperate enough to actually cut things with Big, but okay, it's empowerment. Bullshit. He almost feels like he needs to comfort her. He needs to take away that pain that she feels because he's not able to forgive her, right? It's totally fucked up, but it can totally happen to someone who is struggling between loving this person and wanting to walk away, like standing by what he actually needs. He falls into pleasing what Carrie needs rather than understanding that what he needs was not met. There's even a moment when she says, "You can't keep punishing me." And I'm like, "Bis, what? You are punishing him. You are punishing him by having Big still a part of your life and saying how you cannot cut him, as though you are such friend. Like, even if you are such friend, I don't care. You cheated with Big on this man. But the thing is that you're not even that great of friends, sweetie." The whole scene was insane. It was insane how Carrie demanded Aiden to forgive her. It wasn't even like, she started with, "I hope you forgive me," and then it ended with, "You have to forgive me." It's all about her, and I think this moment showed how Carrie has a certain leverage over Aiden, meaning because he loves her, he still loves her. She's using the fact that Aiden hates seeing her hurt to her benefit. Does that make sense? Let me know, what did you think about this whole thing? And remember, trust your individuality.